Morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 26th of April. Tomorrow's our Clubhouse live stream, not today. And Saturday is filling up with the one-on-one Skype and FaceTime. So I'm happy about that. I look forward to seeing everybody who signs up on there. I'll be heading off soon to Jackson Brown's studio to do a project with Peter Asher. And as far as I know, it's Jim Cox on keys and Russ Kunkel on drums and Waddy Wachtel on guitar and me. Whether there's any other people, I don't know. And I don't know who the artists are, so that'll be fun to meet them and see what we're up to. It's a nice day out. It's starting to warm up again. I hate it. I'm not a warm weather person. I really like it when it's cool out. And so I've been I'm just, again, not sleeping very well. I think I've been up since 3:30 this morning and went to sleep about 1. So, but saw the doctor yesterday, and I'm on a pretty heavy antibiotic. And we're going to see if that helps clear this infection out. And if not, I will go see an ear, nose, throat doctor next week and get their evaluation of it. But never a dull moment. And then kind of the sad thing is every time I talk to anybody about it, everybody just goes, "We're getting old." We're getting old. Well, you can get old and still not be a mess. You know, I really, this is the first thing like this that's come along in a long time. So I'm not freaking out about it, and I stay as healthy as I can and try not to do too much wrong. But, you know, everything, as the old saying goes, everything in moderation, including moderation. It was really fun yesterday going over to Norm's Rare Guitars in Tarzana, do a little walk through there. God, it's a remarkable collection between Norm's stuff and Cliff over at LA Vintage Gear. I mean, it's really astounding. I'm really grateful that I don't need anything because it could be really tempting, but it's fun just to go through and look at everything. And his passion about what he does is really cool. So we had a really nice little talk, and they filmed that. He's going to put that up on his site. And on May 6th, I will be over there at his place signing books. And so if you're in the Tarzana area and you want to come down there and hang, take some pictures or whatever, or mug me, you know, whatever makes people happy. I'm a bass player, so I try to accommodate. And yesterday it was really heartbreaking to see that Harry Belafonte had passed, regardless of the fact that he was in his late 90s. It's still what an iconic figure. And one of my recent flights, I watched the movie about Sidney Poitier, and Sidney and Harry were very, very close, especially when it came down to society, civil rights, all that. I mean, they were both connected with Martin Luther King, but they did have a separation at one point about ideology, but they came back together again. But a couple of absolutely remarkable human beings. But Harry, the guy who, Lord Berkey, I think is the name he went by, was one of the writers on the Banana Boat song, the Day-O. And a few years back when we did the Library of Congress gig for ASCAP, he was one of the guests, and he talked about writing that song. And he was probably 90-something, and we got to play that with him. And he was like a little Energizer bunny. He got up there, and when he started, we just went, yes, this is great. And we had so much fun with him. Just an absolutely delightful man. And he wrote all those calypso songs for Harry and in that whole movement. But really fascinating character. I loved that. I hope that gig comes back at some point. I mean, COVID put the kibosh on that, and that left everything kind of hanging. But I talked to Chris Caswell, who's the musical director for it, and he says they're talking about getting it back together. Whether or not it'll fit my schedule, I don't know. Nothing's in ink yet, so we'll see what happens. But it is a cool gig. I really hope it happens. And but I want to say that yesterday it was really fun visiting the wonderful Suzy Bogguss. And I thought, there's so many good things on all the stuff I've done with her. I'm going to go ahead and play a couple more today, and then I'm going to head off to my session. This will put me in a nice, vibey mood for doing that. So I'm going to go back to this, but I thought I would read a little bio here. I know some people write in to me and they go, you don't have to read all that crap all the time, just play songs. Well, I think it's important to kind of understand journeys that people have been on, that what's gotten them to the limelight. Others that there's stories where things got in the way and they didn't make it, where you would have thought for sure they would have made it. So I'm going to read a little here, and then if you want to go dig deeper, then you go to Wikipedia or any of these other sites, and you can look them up and further your knowledge, as one would say. So here we go. Susan K. Bogguss was born December 30th, 1956, as an American country music singer and songwriter. She began her career in the 1980s as a solo singer. In the 1990s, 6 of her songs went to the top 10 hits. 3 albums were certified gold. 1 album received platinum certification. She won the top new female vocalist from the Academy of Country Music and the Horizon Award from the Country Music Association. She was born in Aledo, I guess that is, Illinois, as the youngest of 4 to Barbara and Charles Bogguss. I don't know. Charles was an Army officer who served in the Pacific Ocean Theater in World War II and later became a machinist who worked at the International Harvester Plant in East Moline. BJ was a secretary auditor for a Midwest grocery chain. Her grandmother's played piano in theaters. At age 5, she began singing in the angel choir of the College Avenue Presbyterian Church in her hometown. With her parents' encouragement, she took lessons on pianos and drums, and as a teenager picked up the guitar as well. In her youth, Bogguss would visit Roy Rogers and Dale Evans at their home in Apple Valley, California, as they attended the same church as her grandparents. She starred in several musicals in Aledo High School, where she was crowned homecoming queen. Easy to understand when you know her. After graduating in 1975, she enrolled in the Illinois Wesleyan University in Bloomington, but later transferred to Illinois State University in Normal. She graduated from ISU in 1980 with a bachelor's degree in metalsmithing. I did not know that. I should have gotten in deeper when I was with her, because that's what I was, metal guy. She would later use these skills to design her own jewelry. Bogguss later recalled that her interest in music, being from a small town, I didn't realize that somebody had to make this stuff. I was so green. I also knew about Elton John and other big performers, but it never occurred to me that somebody like me from my small town could make a living making music. Having sung and played guitar and drums in local coffee houses during her college years, Bogguss embarked on a nationwide tour as a folk troubadour after graduating from ISU. At the time, she was drawn to other singers such as Emmylou Harris, James Taylor, and Bonnie Raitt. During this time, she produced her first independent album for Old Shack Records, called Suzy. The LP was available and purchased at her shows and is now a rare collector's item. In 1984, while touring at the Huntley Lodge Resort in Montana, Bogguss discovered that she spent most of her money on clothes for her later shows. She also realized she had no health insurance, very little car insurance, and low chances of performing further, so there was no talent scouts. And then it's just got a quick thing here. We're moving to Nashville in 85. She began working at the local Tony Roma's restaurant. And the first day, on her first day there, while there, she performed a 3-day audition for entertainer Dolly Parton at Silver Dollar City, the theme park, which would eventually become Dollywood. The following year, she became the first featured female performer at the park, playing 4 solo shows at the park's train station and appearing in the Jamboree show. On performing at the train station, Bogguss later recalled, I kept thinking, I'm going to get black lung disease from the cold train in Dollywood. Bogguss said the performances at the park were the first situation where I knew every time I introduced a song by a country artist, they knew who the artist's mom was, who his brothers and sisters were, and who they were married to. These performances prompted her to make a self-produced demo recording at the studio owned by folk singer Wendy Waldman, who we all know because through all these videos, who would eventually become Bogguss's first producer. Bogguss went on to made several copies and sold them while performing at Dollywood. At the time, she recorded a demo of Hopeless Romantic, a song by Doug Creeder, who would become her, it became part of her debut studio album. Kreider and Bogguss met each other and eventually married in 1986. The demo soon caught the attention of Capitol Records president Jim Foglasong, who offered her a recording contract with Liberty Capitol Nashville label. Suzy appeared in the Texas Connection Austin City Limits in '91, then hosted by Jerry Jeff Walker. She joined him to cover Michael Burton's Night Rider's Lament. Both Jerry, Jeff, and the audience were blown away by her voice. Then it goes on to her Capitol and Liberty Records years and all the accomplishments she made there. Indie label recording career. Just looking. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff here. But I'm going to go back to the, here, let me get this page up here. I'm going to get back up to Voices in the Wind album, which I featured the other day, and I'm going to go ahead yesterday. And I want to just play a couple more tracks because it's just a lovely, lovely album. And Suzy's just a beautiful artist and a fun hang. When we were in the studio, she was a nut. I mean, a real character. We were recording at Emerald Recording Studio in Nashville, which from what I understand is no longer there. I think it's changed dramatically since the decade I spent down there. But this is from 1992. I get some kind of redundant information here that I gave on the last one. Let's just get into the credits for these songs. This is a really cute song. This is called Eat at Joe's. How can you go wrong with that? You know, you're going basically to a diner, you know. This is myself on bass, Eddie Bayers on drums, Mark O'Connor on fiddle, Brent Rowan on guitars, Mark Morris and Tom Rohde on percussion, Matt Rawlings on piano. The backing vocals on this are Suzy Bogguss and the Greasy Spoons. Background vocals and the Greasy Spoons. It's Abby Medic, Brent Rowan, Doug Kreider, Eddie Bayers, Gerald Allen Boyd, Harry Stinson, Janie West, John Guess, some guy named Leland Sklar, Mark Morris, Matt Rawlings, Suzy Bogguss, and Ted Hewitt. It was written by Gary Harrison and Matresa Berg. I forgot about Matresa. I worked with her too. I have to dig her up. So let's go check out Eat at Joe's. So there we go. Fun tune. Come on. Yeah, I love it when you're clicking on the thing and it just sits there looking at you like you're Mr. Potato Head or something. Hold on. Rebooting. Oh, don't do this crap to me. I hate this. I just listened to it and now it's saying you can't hear it on this here, so I'm going to have to pull up another. This is what happens when you subscribe to the Peanut Gallery. Here we go. Worth the wait.
I go to work from 10:30 until 6 a.m. Breaking up the dimes and quarters, slinging eggs and ham, scrambled poached or over easy, coffee black and strong, jukebox of scratchy records, I play 'em all night long. Eternal blue neon, we never close when the world is asleep. Darling, come take a seat. You can always eat at Joe's.
Eat at Joe's.
Here comes old Frank Taylor, smelling like old gin. Guess his wife couldn't get him sober. It's up to me again. Here's a hot top on the coffee. Honey, you're a mess. I ain't your wife
fun tune. Fun tune. I do have to say, the first time I played with Eddie Bayers down in Nashville, I think it might have been on Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 album. It would have either been that or Ray Van Hoy's album. But it was one of those things that as soon as you sit down, there are times where you sit down with somebody and within 2 beats, you are connected, and you know this is somebody you want to play with much more. I felt that way with Ray Brinker when I did the Barefoot Servants album. We got together for a rehearsal, and within a bar, I knew I wanted to be playing with this guy, no doubt about it. But Eddie, I did countless albums with Eddie over like a decade and a half, going back and forth to Nashville. Just loved it every time. Let's see, what do we got here? Here's a song called Love Goes Without Saying. And this one is myself on bass, Eddie Bayers on drums, Brent Rowan on guitar, Johnny Neal on keyboards, Tom Rohde on percussion, Matt Rawlings on piano. The strings were recorded at the Complex by the wonderful Frank Wolf, such a great engineer. Arranged by David Campbell. And again, I've talked about this many times. The first time I met David Campbell was when we did Jackson Browne's first album, and he played, I can't remember if he was playing violin or viola on that, but he has gone on at that point to be one of the major arrangers for pop music. And for those that are fans of the artist Beck, David's his dad, and they're like dead ringers for each other. It's amazing. Background vocals on this are Gerald Allen Boyd, Harry Stinson, and Ted Hewitt. Concertmaster is Sid Page. Contractor is Susie Katayama, who's also a wonderful cellist. And it was written by Doug Kreider, who's married to Suzy Bogguss, and Tony Hazelden is his name. So let me pull this one up. Love Goes Without Saying. There we go. Oh, it's doing that same thing. I guess I've had it sitting too long. I'm going to punch this in. Love Goes Without.
Knows each time he holds her it's love, but he's never told her. He thinks that she knows, he thinks that it goes without saying. That's not the way she planned it. She needs to have a man that can call it by name, or it's only a game that they're playing. Unless she knows the distance grows, because love goes without saying. Just not enough, she's not staying. He wakes and smells the coffee. The clock alarm goes off. He doesn't hear the door close, doesn't hear as love goes without saying. Unless she knows the
Beautiful tune, really good. I'll do one more and then I will get ready to head off to Jackson's studio. Got an early start today. I believe this one is In the Day. Let me double check, make sure I'm not putting credits up on something. Yep, this will be In the Day. And this one is myself on bass and Eddie Bayers on drums. Acoustic guitar is Gerald Allen Boyd. Arrangement was again done by David Campbell. Background vocals on this are Mike Reed and Suzy Bogguss. Concert master Sid Page. The string contractor Susie Katayama. Brent Rowan on guitar, Jerry Neal on keyboards, Tom Rohde on percussion, Matt Rawlings on piano. The strings were recorded again by Frank Wolf. The steel guitar and ebow on this is Dan Dugmore, and it was written by Doug Kreider and Suzy Bogguss. Every time I see Dan Dugmore's name, though, God, we go back to a band called the Brimstones in high school. And Dan, I always loved playing with Dan. I've probably told the story before, but it's lost to history somewhere in this mishmash of my channel here. But I had graduated high school in 1965, and I had been out of school for about a year. Well, being the rebellious spirit that I was, I didn't shave or cut my hair for that year because school was pretty oppressive then, and they had lots of rules, and I just said, screw this, I'm out of here now, getting ready to be a college man, so I'm going to feel my oats. And we were in this band called the Brimstones, and we got hired to play at a local high school senior prom. The other guys were still in school. So we get to the school, and kids are outside waiting to come in for their evening, and we're setting up on stage, and the school principal comes walking in and looks at me on stage, and he goes, "There's no way that damn hippie's going to be on our stage." We're like 10 minutes from showtime, and we're all looking at each other going, what the hell are we going to do now? I mean, are you kidding me? And this guy was adamant that I could, all the work he's done over